Hi, my name is Alvin Lum. This is Yuan Wang. This is Matthew Shepard, and we're in the Masters of Applied Computing program.
And I'm Heather Birch. I'm a PhD student at the Ontario Institute for Studies in Education, and I'm also a piano teacher. So the PracticeCactus app was originally thought of and designed by a group of piano students, as well as some of their parents, and a group of piano teachers. So the app is created in response to sort of two problems with independent piano practice, which students have to do between weekly lessons. So students report that they feel isolated and alone when they're practicing, and that it's sometimes a week to go by between lessons with communication with the teacher is long. And teachers report that they can make educated guesses as to how much their students are practicing between lessons, but they really don't know what's happening with student practice, when it's happening, how often, and for how long. So PracticeCactus provides motivation to piano students through this digital cactus, and it provides information to teachers about their students' practice habits that they never would have had before.
So the overall design of our application has two parts: a student application for Android and a web-based portal for the teacher. The student application will display an image of a cactus, which will become happy or sad depending on how much the student has practiced piano in front of it. When the student is finished practicing, information about that practice session will automatically be sent to the storage on the web server, and the teacher will be able to view details about each practice session, as well as aggregate data about how much the student has practiced in the past week. The student can also submit snippets of pieces that they have practiced and send these recordings over to the web server, where the teacher can view and listen to these recordings.
So Alvin, that was a really great piano lesson that we just had. Great work. So I look forward to seeing you again in 1 week for our next lesson. So I hope that you remember to practice.
I will. Don't worry about that.
Okay, so a little while later, little Alvin opens up his phone and decides to start piano practicing. When he opens up the app, he's immediately greeted with his pet cactus. Now it looks pretty sad right now. That's because Alvin hasn't been practicing very much lately. But you can see that as he starts practicing to it, the cactus starts becoming happier and happier. It's listening actually for piano practice and detecting that over background noise. So we put a lot of work into designing kind of the UI for this. And you can see that the second Alvin kind of opens the app, he's immediately introduced to the cactus. He doesn't actually have to interact with the app in any way other than opening it. So say Alvin's kind of done practicing, he wants to look at his menu, wants to change his settings around. So in his settings, he can change his name, which is apparently Matt. He can change his session length, which is his total number of minutes, his target minutes of practice per day. And you know what, that looks good. Let's save that. So you can go back to practicing, but you know what, Alvin feels pretty confident in his practicing now. He thinks he should share what he's learned with Heather. So he clicks share, and he can now record a little practice section. Alvin can listen to it. Sounds pretty good. Let's send it off to Heather. And he can give it a little name so Heather knows what he was practicing. And he shares. So now, you know what, Alvin's done for the day. He's going to close the app. And then automatically his practice session information has been sent to the server.
I wonder how my piano students are doing. I'm going to check in on them.
So for Heather to check in on her students, she can log into the PracticeCactus online teacher portal. As you can see, as soon as she logs in, she can see all of her students as cute PracticeCactus icons. She also gets notifications about new submissions, new recording submissions from her students that she hasn't reviewed yet. Heather can also manage her students from this view by, for example, she can add new students at the bottom of the screen. For example, if she got a new student named JR. So now Heather wants to check in on how Matt's been practicing this week. To do that, she can click into Matt's practice profile. So in the top left corner, she gets a bar graph, which shows
Let's go to Safari.
Let's go to Safari.
Oh, Okay, we need to do Chrome integration. Should we
Yeah.
change it to Chrome? or-
Nobody uses Safari anyways.
So in the top left corner, so if it renders properly in Chrome, she gets a bar graph which shows how many times Matt has practiced this week and how many minutes he's practiced during each practice session. She can also see more details about each practice session, so she can get a high-level sound profile of Matt's whole practice session in the orange visualization. She gets also a bar graph which shows which keys that Matt has been practicing during the session and how many times he's practiced those keys, so how many times he's clicked those keys. On the right-hand side of the student practice profile, Heather can see that Matt has submitted new recordings and she can click on it to listen to it.
So after looking at this information about these practice habits, I see this is really going to change the way I instruct this student. Next time when he's here for a piano lesson, I have some specific ideas about how I can help him with his practice and help him progress. So throughout this project, I have learned some of the unique communication and negotiation skills that are necessary in order to have programmers on a participatory design team.
I think an important lesson that we as programmers learned is that we had all these cool ideas and features for the app that we wanted to integrate, but we actually had to limit them a lot to kind of fit into the story and the UX design of the app itself and the portal.
So for future work, we would want to improve both the tools for the teachers and the functionality for students. We want to add the ability for teachers to assign practice activities, to respond to the student recording submissions, perhaps by liking them, and to set remotely a practice session length that is appropriate for an individual student. For the student, we would want to add, for example, daily practice reminders, to customize the look and feel of the practice, and perhaps to share the practice statistics to social media. Thank you.
Hey, that's great. All kinds of functionality there. The newest thing I saw was the recording of the keys. So
Yeah.
sorry, I'm illiterate when it comes to music. Did you mean the individual keys or the kind of music?
It counts every time, say you press a key, it will count that as a press.
No?
And it
Yeah.
counts which key you
Yeah.
play as well.
Yeah.
And is that something you actually wanted?
Can you bring it up?
So it's not.
Yeah, it's very interesting because it's the kind of stat that they asked, well, would this be helpful? And I said, I'm not sure. But as we look at it, we see that it is helpful because you can kind of see like the right hand,
This kind of.
yeah, you can kind of see like where the right hand is playing and where the left hand is playing. And you can kind of see like, okay, the student is not actually playing out to the highest and the lowest levels of the piano. So most of their songs are kind of in this area. And also, I'm wondering if over time you would be able to see patterns with what certain pieces look like. So if a student practices a specific song, like if that would, indicate a certain pattern. I'm not sure, but it's very interesting.
Yeah. Great. No. How close is this for you to actually use it?
So I'd say I think it's ready for testing, for user testing. In terms of like a large-scale deployment, we still have to think about some stuff with like audio storage on the web and more large-scale problems.
Right.
Yeah.
Actually, I wanted Heather to answer that.
Oh, sorry.
Oh. Do you want me to give a different answer? or-
Well, yes, because that was sort of a technical answer.
Yeah.
I was more interested in how close it is, if that problem were solved, how close is this to something you really want to use or not?
Well, I really want to use it, and I do have a series of, I have 3 researchers in distributed universities who want to use the app for research purposes. So,
Research on teaching.
yes.
Oh, great. Any other comments? Yeah.
Just a curious question, if you press a chord, can it detect each specific note?
So it detects up to 5 simultaneous key presses for now, but we can increase that number.
So how did you do the audio processing? Where did you do it?
It's done locally on the phone. So an algorithm decides whether or not we're playing piano or not. Like it's a local thing.
Yeah, it's looking for kind of frequencies in the sound wave that kind of correspond to what it thinks a piano would be.
And it's all now at the app.
It's all done in real time on the app. Yeah.
Okay, there you go.